Welcome back to Convos with Biz. That's Ben, I'm Israel, that's Zeeks, and one of you guys told us to watch this video and have a conversation about it where this pastor stabbed to death his transgender partner on their wedding night. Let's get into it.
Now, this story is a very disturbing story. Ghanaian pastor in Texas arrested for stabbing transgender wife to death. Good evening, Mikhail.
Hello, Paul.
Is it true though?
So information at this time is quite scant because it just happened. As at now, he's in police custody. I've not found major news outlets reporting on this. So as at now, we've had what we would call blog sites, tabloids, and so on. So it is most likely true because a lot of people are talking about it. But we've not found major news sites talk about it. BBC has not said anything about it. CNN has not. It's just Ghanaian sites that talk about things in the US and so on that are. So for now, maybe it's gossip. But it is information.
It's beginning to look like it's true. Okay.
Yes.
So they live in Texas, not Atlanta.
They live in Texas. Yes. Yeah. So
So what's the story? He's Ghanaian.
He's a Ghanaian,
and he has a church.
Yes.
Was she a member of the church?
She was a member of the church. But what happened is a pastor, a man of God, a Ghanaian based in the US, was courting a member of his church. Some people might have some concerns with that, but that's what was happening. And then later on, they found themselves married because of his beliefs, because he was a devout Christian, devout man of God.
Did you get that?
Information is not out there yet. Very little. So we're still waiting.
Was it his first marriage or don't know?
Most likely, because nothing has been stated.
Okay.
So because he was a Christian, he didn't believe in sex until marriage. On the night of the wedding, he discovered as they consummate. You know, upon marriage, you consummate the marriage.
Yes. So what happened? What could have happened?
They were going to begin consummation of the marriage, and then he sees something that was very, very shocking to him. What he would not expect to see when you go with someone you believe is a woman, your wife, to consummate the marriage.
Hasn't he completed the process?
No. So you see, as a Christian, if you're not engaging in any sexual activities until you marry, you will have no idea. And again, look at this.
No, but I'm saying that the transgender people, don't they complete physical change?
Right.
Absolute?
So there's a gigantic conversation around this that, in the first place, if somebody says that he is a woman, he does not have to undergo surgery. He is a woman. That is part of it. Some people believe you must undergo. In this case, she had not fully undergone because the man saw male genitalia that put him off and then led him to stab over 40 times.
It's horrendous, but let me understand it. This is how the person looks like.
Yes. As you can see, the person has very most likely taken hormones to feminize his features. And this happens over many years.
But if you're taking hormones to feminize your features and you're going to get married, or you want to get married, don't they go through some surgery?
They would.
To give them female genitalia?
They do. And the surgery is called a vaginoplasty, where they take the male genital organ, they slice it off, and then they fashion an artificial vagina.
So they create a female genitalia?
They do. And
so you will not see traces of where the female, it won't look like, it won't look different from other female genitalia?
For all intents and purposes, appearance-wise, it looks like female.
Yeah, so if that's...
All right, guys. We've got a couple of minutes in there. What do you guys think about that? There's so many dimensions to this. He's a pastor. This is a church. The transgender element. Wedding night. Stabbed over 40 times. Like, what do you guys think? Oh yeah, and also, no intercourse, none of that stuff before marriage. So he was trying to do the right thing apparently. And this was the first time for him to realize what he was actually dealing with. What do you guys think?
Boy, this one's a bit of a heavy one still. This one is a bit of a heavy one.
All right, just shout out to the person who told us to have a conversation about this. And again, if you guys have anything you want us to have a conversation about, leave it in the comments below. Go on, Ben.
No, like it's weird to me, yeah. Like people, obviously, I'll start off by saying the individual, the man who's done this, who basically tried to, you know,
deceive the pastor,
deceive the pastor. Like, I feel like they've got their own issues, so I'll speak to that. Like, I'll speak 100%. Like, they've got issues. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do things like that and expect something crazy to happen. And on top of everything, you're doing it to an African, bruv. Bro, you know how proud Africans are, bro. Like, this stuff don't even make sense to us, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like this is a lot of like the Western world. They're trying to get this ideology into like Africa, and well, the people in Africa ain't having it. From what I know, anyway, for at least from the things that I've come across, they're not having it because it's like we got other problems to deal with, so we're not even going to think about all of this stuff. Like, but you can't do that and expect a person to function correctly afterwards, especially if that person is like straight to his bones. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's unfortunate that this individual has had to die in this process. It's very, very, very unfortunate. But I don't know if I will be like absolutely mad at the person who's ended up. I'm pretty sure it's sometimes it's like a reaction, in it. Do you know what I mean?
As in, you
like,
mean mad at the pastor? You mean?
Yeah, like and on top of that as well, like, man waited till marriage.
Yeah, that's the painful thing, bro. That's why. Yeah, I think that's what's contributing to man's like the venom, bro. Like, you know, in that moment, I reckon that the guy, that minister, everything, like every moment that he experienced with that person up until that point was flashing before his eyes, and he was like, man, unfortunately, let me even say, this is not even how I wanted to start. I wanted to start by saying this is very sad, but you know, unfortunately, in that moment, the guy wasn't thinking about the scripture that says we don't war with flesh and blood. The guy's mind was gone. Like, he was like, no, you are the enemy. And that's the problem. Like, this is the saddest part about this is what happens when you allow what is not God's original plan. I want to say, let me just go in, like, when you allow the demonic plan of the enemy, when you allow the manipulations of evil to come to their fullest fruition, this is what happens, bro. And it's like, we hear about sin and death being born from sin, and people think sometimes that, you know, it's just talking about the individual. The scripture is very clear. This kind of diabolical stuff is what the enemy wants. The enemy wants death from anyone at all costs. And this is the crazy thing. It's like, the man just wanted to be married. He just wanted to, you know, just to be happy. He wanted to have a happy life, bro. And the enemy was able to, like, usurp that, bruv. This is, bruv, it's sick, bruv. Like, this is really, really sick. It's so sad and sickening at the same time, bro. It's like, I like, what he did was wrong. Like, he should never have murked that brother. He should never have murked the bro. But what is sad, though, is that, like, his life, like, both lives are gone now. Steal, kill, destroy, bruv. That's what happened, bruv. That's what happened, bruv. That is the enemy's mantra, fam. And you can see in this situation, the one individual thought, okay, you know what? This is who they are. They're getting in touch with their true self. They want to be a female. But look where that took you to in the end. Like, why not? If truly being, like, representing the female, biology was the truth. That's really what you wanted. That was a real success. That's real, like, you know, it's good. Why would you not tell the person you're marrying this is right? Because you know that person, that life is not yours. They would not accept you. They would never accept you because that's not what they want. Why didn't you go to someone else who's more accepting of transgender and go and set up your life there where you can be honest and truthful? Why be a deceiver? And that's bruv, this is the thing. It's like, this is deceit, bruv. This is deceit at its finest, man. It's super sad, man. It's super sad, man. It's super sad. Man.
Obviously, they were talking a little bit about the start about not a lot of people are talking about this. It's not being promoted heavily across news channels, which, to be honest, I'm not even surprised. But at the same time, they were talking a little bit about, is this genuine? Is it not genuine? Etc. I think let me put it like this. Why do you think people are not, the news outlets are not talking about it? And do you think they should be speaking about it?
I'm actually quite surprised they're not.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that they're not. Like, I thought this is the kind of thing that they kind of jump on and get, like get a certain community to start, like protesting and all that kind of stuff there. Do you know what I mean? So I'm actually quite surprised that it's not out there like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was thinking more so because it doesn't put the alphabet community, as we call it, in the best light.
Yeah, and you're right.
It's not really. This isn't the kind of thing where I think we've all kind of got the same approach. This is, number one, a mad scenario. Number two, the pastor shouldn't have done that, and obviously, the man who's trying to become a woman and trying to live as a woman is obviously had his own problems as well. Well, I think we're all agreed on that, and I think this, even though we all agree with that, and we all agree the pastor's wrong, there will be so much positive emotion towards the pastor. There'll be so much sympathy towards the pastor, I believe, on a mass scale. It won't really help, in my opinion, the alphabet community. So it's very deceptive. Like Zeeks was saying, it's a very, if he really didn't know up until that moment, that is a very deceptive thing. And think about it, Ben, they're into this, take them as they are, accept them, all this kind of stuff. If that's really true, if that's one of their main mantras, their main selling points, why is this person as part of that community deceiving up until the very end, up until the point where most people, not going to say most, I'm pretty sure a lot of people in that moment would have probably reacted differently. And I mean in the sense of thinking to themselves, you know what, well, maybe let me just go forward. And just stuff like that.
What do you mean? Wait. What do you
mean?
And
continue you know how you've heard, I've heard these stories, you've probably heard them as well. It's where there'll be similar stories like this. Maybe not to this extreme, like on a wedding night, but you're in a relationship with someone and they will now start to convince you, oh, you know what? You really like this. This is part of your orientation too. It just took this scenario for you to realize it. And some people in that scenario will be they'll start questioning themselves.
Yeah, bro, you have to have that in you for someone to twang you like that, to deceive you like that. Ain't no way on earth. There's a way man is convincing me of a thing that I've known since I was whatever age. I know that I'm a guy. Yeah. Number one, I'm a believer. Even before becoming a believer, I knew which sex I'm attracted to. You know what I mean? It's I already knew that. Without a shadow of doubt, there's no question about it. So it's if a person can convince someone else that maybe you like this, there was something deep in you, fam. There was already something deep down that, do you get what I'm saying? It's it's actually quite sad because for the pastor, of course, us being believers, we know that that's not the action that he should have took. Do you know what I mean? It's so sad because he's ruined his own life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's ruined his own life. And this is what I mean about humans, yeah. Whoa, obviously we all know obviously the ideology a lot of the world the ideology that a lot of the world carry is obviously coming from the enemy. So we know that. It's this is why it's important, man. It's so crucial. Ezekiel said earlier on, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. And even this, you know what? There are certain things that I would actually not to judge him or nothing like that, but I'll just say to him discernment, bro.
Yeah, bro. There's a lot. You're right. You're so right, bro.
Yeah. I agree, but bro, at the same time, it's we the reason I won't fully agree with that is because we see this all the time. Every year there's some sort of mega pastor or someone, and it's not always who's fallen, who gets into some massive scandal, and it's not always this was the obvious sort of mega pastor. Certain times it's a minister who most people are vouching for, and it's a massive shock. So the point I'm trying to make is the deception is real certain times, fam. Certain times you're in a church where it looks solid.
From the sound of it, bro, it just sounds like Like, how many men you know today, church or not, are waiting until marriage, bro?
Yeah.
Like, church or not. So for a person to take that step to begin with, there's something about him. Do you know what I mean? There's something about you wanting to live. Like, I would assume anyway. This is a major assumption, but I would assume that you're trying to do the right thing, especially according to the faith. That's according to your faith. Do you know what I mean?
He's a pastor, isn't it? So you'd expect
you know,
hope for the best that pastors are trying to live the way of the word, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just sad. But for me, see, like, I feel more sorry for him than I feel like where he shouldn't have done that because of obviously like who we serve and what scripture says. I'm also just feel sorry for him because this is what usually this is the thing with people. I saw a post a little while back, and it was like someone talking from jail, and they were like, it only took 3 minutes. It only took 3 minutes for me to end up. So it was like maybe 30 seconds of someone stepping on my trainers.
Yeah.
Maybe 45 seconds of me like reacting, me taking out a gun, me shooting the person. And then, but he goes, it took this long, but and then now I've got to miss 25 years of my child's birthdays. I got to miss this. Do you know what I mean? This is how much the lawyer fees cost. This is how much, and it's like the reaction. Do you know what I mean, to something that? And this is the major thing. Like, you can be out on road and someone does something to you. I can turn around. It's very easy for me to, you know, like someone's, at least now anyway, like when someone looks at me a certain way or they say something or whatever, like, and you could kind of just like, yeah, whatever, you walk away from it. It don't really affect. I don't feel like I'm less of a man because I didn't do no rah, like I don't feel that way. But I couldn't imagine being in that situation. And like, I've probably had many practices with this. I couldn't imagine being in that situation.
But isn't that what makes the situation so mad, bro? Where it's like, we know he shouldn't have done it, but the extremity of this crazy situation. Like, could you imagine, like, you think you've fallen in love with someone who you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You've waited that period in time, which, like you said, Ben, bare men ain't doing that. So it's like he's waited this whole time. And in that moment where he's like, yeah, it's time, he gets the shock of his life. Like, it's just, to me, it's like that, such a mad scenario. It doesn't surprise me that such a mad response happened, because it seems like 100%. He went mad, like, in that moment. 40 100%. Times he stabbed her or whatever. That's like more than intent. That's like, he just lost it.
Yeah. And you know what's even crazy? Even if he didn't do that, he can still go mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But you have to imagine that. Just imagine if he kissed her, bruv. Imagine if he kissed her. That's the point, bruv. That's the thing you have to understand. Imagine if they've been kissing. Imagine if they've been like touching each other. They've touched, like, bruv, all of those things. Yeah, I'm telling you now, bruv. In that moment, like, you don't know what the doctrine is. You don't know what his belief system is. Like, some people, when they say, okay, they're gonna abstain until marriage, some people are still touchy feely. Some people are still, what do you call it? They kiss, like, bruv, there's still physical interaction. They just don't, go all the way. So you have to think about what's going through his mind in that moment. He feels like, the young people, like, they use that, I say young people, the term now that's has been popular is violated. Oh, man, fam.
That is a violation,
fam. A violation.
On a next level, bro.
This is
his whole community, his church know, like, bro, that's your girl, bro.
Can you imagine, bro? Can you imagine? So all of that stuff there is like, it's not about getting to that moment and just being like, oh, you're dude, I'm gonna back off. Not only did I commit to you in my vows already, imagine that's already been done. Like, man, imagine if man don't believe in divorce as well. So he's like, fam, it's like the levels.
Bro, you're trying to take us to a whole other conversation now, because we have to like, come on, that's a void marriage, right? That's void.
In the name of Jesus,
in God's eyes, that's void, isn't it?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was just about to say. That's exactly what I was going to say, because
he was deceived.
Like, think about it, yeah. Like,
but not like Jacob deceived, though.
Jacob still got his at the end, bro.
Yeah, because obviously it was a woman for Jacob.
Yeah,
but we could argue that point. We could argue that point, bro. That, you know what I mean? It happened in much the same way. Like, he agreed to it, even though he didn't know. Like, bro, it's like,
but that's what my point is. It's valid.
What do you mean? What's valid?
Jacob's was valid.
I'm saying the pastor agreed to this as well.
No, but I'm saying it was valid because it was a man and a woman, like from God's perspective. So imagine if someone came to your church and they're in this situation. What are you gonna say to them? What are you gonna say to them? What's your advice gonna be? If they're like, Pastor, no way, this isn't valid in God's eyes because God doesn't co-sign men and men getting married, etc. Like, this is invalidated, right, Pastor? I'm free to go and.
Yeah, you're not married, bro. You're not married.
Yeah. There is no, like, they say, and this is, a lot of people might find this offensive. They say that a man, like same-sex people, can get married, but the author of marriage does not co-sign that. So that entanglement, if we can call it that, is not marriage. That is not marriage.
So that's a scenario where they can obviously, at that point, they can go through the legal route and get a divorce, and it won't be an issue from a Christian perspective.
Yeah, like, because obviously, like, marriage is always like, I've always seen it as like there's two parts of marriage. There's the part that God agrees with, and then there's the part wherever you live agrees with.
Yeah.
There. I know, like, where I'm from, it's like I can get married that way, and I'm calm. Do you know what I mean? I could do it traditional, and I don't have to do it in. I guess here they might say your boyfriend and girlfriend. But really and truly, like, I'm married. According to my culture, I'm married. Do you know what I mean? So it's different. But the most important, I was having a conversation with someone, and I was saying to them, I was like, you know, like the story about Jesus at the well.
With the Samaritan woman. Yeah.
The lady comes and then he was like, go get your husbands. Do you know what I mean? It's like, she didn't say that she had ceremonies with these people. Do you know what I mean? But yet Jesus said that she was married. Do you know what I mean? And so I was having a conversation with, like, someone that I know, and I was like, yo, like, when you go around, you're doing whatever you're doing, like, you're marrying these women. At least spiritually, you're carrying these women with you, fam.
Soul ties.
And he's like, so that's not true. That's not true. It's like, all right, cool. That's why people need to be really careful, like, when you're deciding, because in a spiritual sense, like, you're consummating that relationship.
Straight.
You know what I mean? In a spiritual sense, like, so you got to be, like, real careful on that. But yeah, man, I was thinking, like, so with the pastor, like, think about his belief system. One, like, he's probably thinking at that moment, I'm not married. I've just gone against my God. Do you know what I mean? I've just gone against my God by doing do you know what I mean? By doing this. And then on top of that as well, think, like, your normal life in general, like, you're a pastor of a church who, I'm making an assumption, doesn't believe in that stuff just because of his reaction. It's a lot, man. I feel for him. I feel for the other person as well. Like I do feel for this pastor, because at the end of the day, like, his life is. So this is in the US, right?
Yeah. I think they said it's in Texas.
Oh yeah. They did mention, yeah.
You know they don't play in Texas as well, fam.
Fam, nah, not with their laws, bro.
That's gun country.
That's why it's even surprising me that he stabbed him and didn't shoot him.
Yeah, cattle country.
But I guess stabbing is more of a, like, a
personal, isn't it?
Yeah, personal.
You're close up to the person.
Yeah, intentional, like. All right, let's jump back into it and see what else they're saying.
There are a lot of people who they call them femboys or she males. A woman who definitely looks like a woman on the outside, but has male genitalia, has not completed the process of transitioning. So they call them transsexuals. You're in the process of transitioning.
Why do you get married to a man, unsuspecting man,
who
is looking for marriage for the purpose of procreating and all that?
A lot of people believe they're entitled to do that.
Entitled?
Once you identify as a woman, obviously you're a woman. If a man says he's heterosexual and you are a woman, by your own proclamation, he should find you attractive enough to marry. There's a gigantic.
If this is a young man, as he appears in the photograph, and he's looking to start a family, and you know that you cannot procreate in the circumstance as we are hearing, she cannot procreate.
True. So well, this
is she Ghanaian as well, though?
We don't have that information yet. But no, it's an American. Sorry, it's an American.
But the church people knew that.
They knew, and
she used to be a man,
or at least heavily suspected, and did not clue the pastor in. Again, most likely because this person who says he's a woman should be respected as a woman. And the questions you are presenting are very, very logical and commonsensical. But in some places in the US, questions like this can actually get you in very big trouble.
Oh, I see.
Like that, how dare you question that this person that says he's a woman is not a woman? Why are you not believing their identity as a woman?
But whether you're a woman or not, it has to do with genitalia.
The conversation has evolved beyond that, at least in the United States. In Ghana, definitely not. It is still very binary. In the US, you have instances like they say, her male organ, his female organ. It happens.
His truth, her truth.
And so for us, maybe they say we're behind because the fact that he says he's a woman is enough. Maybe you want to have children, but then you can explore surrogacy, you can explore adoption. There's so many opportunities, technology has advanced, so it's very, very possible. Now, along these lines, I want us to engage in a very brief activity. I want you to tell me something. What do you think of, how attractive would you find these individuals?
Wow, that's a good question. I like the middle one.
They're very, very attractive.
Yes,
I would say very, very beautiful ladies.
Yes.
I want to inform you, Paul, that these are all men.
They are men?
All of them are men.
By genitalia?
Yes, born men.
But do they still hold a male genitalia?
This is Jazz Jennings. She has.
All right, hold on.
He's a G. I like that. He said by genitalia, no long thing.
This is the thing. It's like
no long thing.
Two things here. So the first thing is that we can't skip over the fact that apparently the congregation somehow knew.
That was wicked, bro.
We need to talk about that. Definitely. And secondly, I'm thankful we came back to this video, because even the activity, him doing the activity with that guy, it's like it's showing you like the world we're living in. It's like, it's so easy to see someone who looks attractive, who looks beautiful to the eyes, but to be being deceived. That the guy who's the first guy on the left is basically highlighting and getting the people who are watching this news broadcast to see how easy it is in the first steps to fall into this sort of trap. This is the kind of thing this pastor potentially fell into. He sees someone who looks nice and he thinks, you know what, this is a beautiful woman. And it's like, no, it's not a beautiful woman. This is actually a man in disguise.
I was a beautiful man, bruv. You see, you know what's funny? Yeah, this reminds me of the conversation we were having. I think it was yesterday we were chatting in it, and we're talking about marriage. And I think I was highlighting the fact that, you know, there's a major problem getting into marriage, picking your spouse, picking your life partner based on looks alone. Mm-hmm. It is such a dangerous game to play. And I know the world would have us believe this is, you know, the ultimate prize. Like, you know, let's go by the way they look alone. That's crazy, bro. Like, we should have, like, women should, you know, vie for handsome husbands, and brothers should, like, vie for beautiful wives. Yet that shouldn't be the, you know, the only criteria we utilize in this situation. I'll tell you what's nuts as I'm watching this, yeah? If we focus just on the Western world where many of us may reside here, it's so easy to forget that there's a big wide world out there and other people see the world differently. The Western world would have you believe that their reality, that what they put in place is the only truth across the whole world, bro. And it's so crazy. He is talking to this guy and the guy is saying to him, like, what do you mean like these are women? What do you mean? Like, you know, like this person who married this man is a man, like, by genitalia. That is crazy, bro. Because to him, that's abnormal. B was saying it earlier that, you know, in certain countries, man don't stand for certain things. Do you know what I'm saying? It's nuts.
No, even to go back to what
it's so crazy to me when I think about this. It's like, are you in a church? You're the pastor. Like, when he was saying that about some of the congregation or the whole congregation knowing, it's like, in my mind, it's like, what, they don't reverence their pastor, they don't respect their pastor. wouldn't even one person clue him in to be like, Pastor, there's something that's actually going on here that's wrong that you need to figure out? How is everyone in the church allowing this to happen to their pastor like that? It almost makes it feel like, to me, they're in, like, beyond they're in on it. It's like they accept it. They think it's fine to transform, as we like to say, which is crazy.
What that guy was saying. I think that's what the other guy was saying just now. That's the point he was making. That the as the congregation knew, that's the sentiment I got anyway. Bro, it's nuts. I think he must have been a new minister, or he must have joined the church late. There's no way he could have been a long-standing minister in that church and not know. There's no way, bro. I don't understand. I can't understand that unless that person came to the church before he joined the church for many years, and now they've come back, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's like, you know, Gerald, who's now Geraldine or something." Bro. Oh my goodness, bro.
Like, even with the thing you said about marriage, about, you know, like an individual, like how, like in today's world, it's like many people are so focused just like plainly on how someone looks, and here's why that's an issue. Yeah, obviously we know that the Bible talks about a marriage between a man and a woman, and the only thing that should do you part is death. We know that, and it's very weird when you put such a major emphasis on how a person looks, because that how you marry someone isn't how they look before they die, right? If they go to an old age, right? Like, I think when we was having a conversation, we were speaking about how a woman's body changes when she gives birth. Right? So we already know like that. So that should indicate to you that it isn't all about looks. If you just take it from how God created it, that should indicate to you that it can't be about looks, because over time there's going to be changes within you too. Do you know what I mean? Like, and if, you know, like worst case scenario, someone might have an accident. Like I saw a post today, like some woman, a burn victim. Even a while back, I saw a post of a woman who was engaged to get married to some guy. She got burnt, like, and her skin, like, she was really, really, really pretty. And when she got burnt, obviously, like, she lost all of that beauty, at least to the general eyes. Yeah, she lost all of that beauty. But the guy was like, no, like, that's my wife, married her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how long they were together for, but it just goes to show, like, when you we're in today's society, we're putting so much emphasis, and this is how people, sadly, this could be a way where he got deceived. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you see how someone looks, and then is, you know, you just pay so much attention to that, rather than, because there was something else that I actually wanted us to even speak about. Like, I come across one post, and the lady was like, so many of you men and women have all of these criterias that has to be ticked before you end up with a guy or a girl. So a woman, she might turn around and say, I don't know, the guy's got to be 6'4", like, the guy's got to have this money, he's got to look like this, they've got to have this. And then a man emphasizes also on how she's supposed to look like this, she's supposed to be guy in gym and this, that, and the other. And then the lady goes, just make sure that even if they do look like that, that they're going to be there when you're sick. Because the criteria that you guys are using to pick ain't it. Because after a little while, like, bro, everybody looks a certain way when you first meet them. Yeah. But when you're in a relationship with someone for so long, you now have to start telling your mind, no, that's my guy, that's my woman, that's my woman, that's my woman. You have to keep telling yourself that, because after a little while, someone else, bro, like, we've all been in there, you're driving a car and they're looking at another car. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you don't use the wisdom that God gave you, if you don't use the part of man that God said that separates us from animals, then the only thing you focus on is the appearance of something. Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing else is just about the appearance. If someone in today's world, you have to exercise that so much more. Just because of situations like this, you have to exercise that so much more. Yes, she's pretty, but what's her relationship with Christ like? Yes, she's pretty, but how does she respond to problem? Yeah, she's pretty. Like, or let me fast. Like, let me do what? Like, let me seek God's face about who this individual is before I settle on, I'm gonna marry this person. Even, we can go so deep with this, bro. Like, yeah, man. Defo.
But you know, the funny thing is, it's like, obviously, as you're talking and as the conversation's flowing, the thing that keeps coming back to our mind is Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31. It's like, this is you want the Proverbs 31 woman. And it's like, at the end, after talking about how good this woman is, one of the things it says is, beauty is vain. It's like beauty is going to eventually run out. And it says, but a woman who fears the Lord, that is the one who should be praised. So it's like, any woman who's reading that should be thinking to themselves, like, well, okay, let me not base everything I'm doing based on my looks. Because eventually, like Ben's saying, beauty is going to wither away. And even any man who's reading that or learning about Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman, it's like the same thing. Okay, cool. Let me not just make a decision based on looks today, because that might get you into a marriage today. But is that going to keep you in a marriage 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, 40 years down the line, etc.? We talk about it all the time. We see it all the time. People who, as they say, trade in their women for the newer model, younger model. It's like, why bear those guys doing that? Because they feel that, you know what? I want to continue to see something which excites me, because that's where they get their excitement from, which is, like Ben was saying, it's like, it's very carnal, it's very animalistic. It's not necessarily someone who's realizing, okay, cool, I'm part of a team, I'm building something here. And over time, the people in this partnership are going to change and grow in different ways. Some ways, which may be positives today, may turn out to be negatives tomorrow. But certain negatives today will turn into positives tomorrow. But the point is that we have to stay in a situation where we're both committed and focused for the long term, and not just seeing it as we like the way we look today and that's it. That's a recipe for eventual disaster.
Oh, mate, I'm telling you, this is how you wake up and someone's like, I'm just not happy. And boom, that's it. Like, and do you know what I mean? And you pick them for their looks. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you got to be wise. You got to use wisdom. You really got to use wisdom. But yeah, like, for this guy, it's like, I feel for him, man. I feel for him. Like, this is so, like, to go back again, I think one of you guys mentioned it. Someone said, you know, like, yeah, this guy as well, who's doing the whole news thing. And he's like, you know, like, they just say that they need to be accepted for who they are. Yeah, well, then accept me for who I am. I'm a Christian. I'm a Bible-believing Christian who believes that I should be in a relationship with a woman because I'm a man. That's what I believe. So if you want me to accept you for who you are, accept me for who I am. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, let me not. Things like this can happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Even the guy who's pretended to be a woman, he is not even trying to get the guy to accept him as he is. He's being deceptive.
Yeah. Because
it's crazy. Like that young guy said it on the thing as he was explaining it. So he goes, you can get in trouble in certain places, parts of the world, by even asking certain questions. He said, who are you to even ask, is this person a woman? And I think this is the problem that we've got here. Like, if a brother says he wants to be a woman, what we must acknowledge is, even if he looks and can be, you know, transformed, there is still a distinct difference between him and a biologically born woman. We already know about hormonal differences and all those kind of things. There's no amount of hormonal therapy that you're going to have that is going to give you the equal, you know, footing of a organically born woman. And I think we just need to own this. This isn't like man's trying to be unfair, or like, acknowledge that you are a different type. You could and this is the problem, because you're trying to be what you are not biologically. So we must acknowledge that you are something different. And this is where they all got the whole cis women, all this kind of thing from. But I think the key thing is to say, like I don't even know, like, to say, who are you? What are you? Do you know what I mean? People need to be honest, totally honest on like who they are, what they represent. Because if this person would have said to the pastor, look, this is what they are, the pastor's in a position to accept or deny. And don't you want someone to accept you for who you are? Like, really accept
Exactly.
you. Do you know what I mean? They should be accepting of who you are, not what you're pretending to be. This is the issue. There's so many trans people out there now, and they can find partners and people like whatever, and they purport to be happy. So why not put yourself in a situation where you can be happy, as opposed to try and, you know, deceive someone and lay claim to something that's not yours.
I was thinking about this based on this video. It was making me think back to when I was younger. It's like the thought or question would never arise in my mind to ask a female, are you biologically a female? Yeah. Are you biologically a woman? But we actually live in a day and age now where, like what Zix was just saying, the host is saying in certain parts of the world it's problematic, it's frowned upon to ask those questions. But we live in a day and age where, for people who are trying to go the straight and narrow way, I'll just put it like that, you have to, that's like one of the most significant questions. So it's like, I always talk about, as a Christian, the first question should always be, are you a Christian? One of the questions, if not the next question up there, in my opinion, has to be that question these days. And it just shows you the time in which we're living in. Yeah, it shows us the time in which we're living in. Our children will have to ask those questions. Yeah. A question we never even had to imagine asking.
Like, never in 1,000 years. And the crazy part, bro, is that there is someone sitting on the other side of this screen that is bamboozled. That matters to us. Bro, this is where we are, bro. This is how crazy the world's got to, where they'll be like, well, I come across a post, like, the lady was like, she had HIV. And she was like, I'm not going to declare it, because at the end of the day, why are you coming around just like? And I'm like, this is the world we live in. This is the reason why, like, I promise you, it's not a good idea to just look on the outlook of somebody, and then for that reason decide that you want to go and whatever. Even if, like, you might not be a believer like we are, and so maybe you feel the freedom to go around and, you know, like, sleep with whoever. But even if that's how you move, don't base it on just how the person looks. At least have a list of questions. Even if you ain't asking it outwardly, just something that points certain things out to you. Do you know what I mean? Because nowadays, like, you just can't be too careful.
You know what I mean? Go on, bro.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, like, nowadays you just can't be too careful, man. Like, you have to, like, better safe than sorry, innit?
Yeah, man. I'm. It's funny you brought up the children, because I'm constantly in my mind thinking that about the manner in which I equip my children, because they need to be equipped to the point where they can't fall prey to this kind of a demonic attack. Yeah. I can't call this anything less than that, bro. 100. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and even if we look at this merely from the fact, let's forget the whole transformer piece. Even if we look at this merely from the perspective that he was deceived, and it's on that level that I need to ensure that, you know, my children are capable to navigate the world, you know, with the awareness of this level of deception. Because, bro, like, if we're real, bro, look, go back to the Garden of Eden. What do you see? Like, think about what Eve's perspective was of the fruit. Yeah, and it was talking about, it was good, pleasing to the eyes, bro. I missed everything else. It was pleasing to the eyes. Big error straight away. Think about what Eve said to God. She was like, it was the serpent. He beguiled me. He deceived me, bro. All of these are telltale signs that this was a demonic attack, bro. Telltale signs, man.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah. All right, guys. I know we could talk about this all night
for a very long time. 100.
I'd just say, if you guys and girls want us to continue this conversation about this particular topic, if you want us to watch more of the video, let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until the next conversation, peace.
Peace.